We have, actually, I'm gonna make this one big real quick. You guys are gonna watch me just live produce right here because you guys know if I have to produce from home, we have to kind of do all these things step by step. Okay, let's see. Here's your tornado warnings, highlighted here in pink, and I'm looking at a different screen than you are, so I'm going to be looking up here for a good bit of this. Highlighted here in pink, this is your tornado warning. Damaged or destroyed, damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Okay, that's coming from the National Weather Service for locations including Thomas, and it remains in effect until 11 o'clock tonight, so it's 10:46. We've got another 14 minutes on this right now. Still some large hail capable with this, up to half the size of a $50 and a tornado. That is the biggest hazards that they're talking about. But what you're seeing right here, this less than an hour ago, 1-inch size hail. I take that back. That was about an hour ago. Anyway, now we have tornado warned storms. So what we're tonight. Alrighty, let's look at GR3. There you go. All right, here's your tornado warning. It'll load in just a minute. We like to use our storm relative velocity, and we like to use normalized rotation. I really like normalized rotation with this, and it'll load. It'll come in here in just a minute. We're still a storm. You're getting some background into what we do as meteorologists. We just look at different products to see into the storm, products that you may not have access to. Oh yeah, okay, let me switch radars here, and I'll show you what I'm seeing. It's possible hail. So where are we seeing the possible hail at? Over Thomas right now. I think that's the best place that we could see some hail. We're also looking at some rotation. So this is normalized rotation. Anytime that we see the greens and the blues off of I-40 here. And then this on the bottom left-hand side is your storm relative velocity. And we're looking so far up into the storm right now. It's really that we're looking so high into the atmosphere. If this is the surface and that storm builds and builds and builds miles into the atmosphere, we're looking so far up into that storm. We can see that rotation on the upper level. They're really becoming a little bit more specific with what they're watching here. So this is, I think this is the area, 1 inch, so down to quarter-sized hail, the size of a quarter. Still some decent hail. What about this one down here? Let's see. Have we seen any update to this warning? Still, this is warned. I was trying to find one out of SWOSU, but I don't see that either. So warned. Highlighted here in yellow from the far southwestern side of Oklahoma into Texas. So this highlighted in pink and then in red, if you're looking on the main screen, are for Thomas and Fay, Oklahoma, some small towns in Oklahoma. However, I'm a little bit more curious about this one farther down to the south that's in Bessie now, just outside of Clinton, headed into Weatherford. So this is not only warned for a potential tornado, but also some potential large hail as well. And this one, I do agree with the National Weather Service, isn't looking as impressive in terms of hail. Okay, it looks like we're having some connection issues, so make sure, let me know that you guys are still on with us. I haven't seen any comments, but I'm also wondering if those aren't working either. If you guys have been watching our noon show, you know that we have been having some connection issues. We're doing as much as we can to fix that for you. All right, let's go a little bit farther down to the south and talk about this new severe thunderstorm warning now. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning from Cordell to Duke, moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. What does the National Weather Service say about this? They say that large hail, damaging wind, and continuous cloud-to-ground lightning are occurring with these storms. They say move indoors quickly. Lightning is one of nature's leading killers. Remember, if you can hear thunder, you are close enough to get struck by lightning. They're being very nice about saying if it roars, go indoors. because we do not want you guys to get struck by lightning. But I bet you don't want to be outside in this anyway, because this probably has some decent hail, at least a little bit of hail with this. If not, I bet this has some decent hail right outside of Granite. Sentinel. But we do have another one still ongoing for Thomas going into Watonga. Again, this is in western Oklahoma. How's our connection doing? Not great. Looking at this storm, you can see, so this is western Oklahoma. Here's Oklahoma City. You know, let's go through and let's do a little timeline here. Give me just a minute while I log on and get our timeline pulled up here. Let's see what's going to happen for the rest of the night. I'm sure a lot of you are jumping on from more populated areas like Oklahoma City. Maybe you're on from Tulsa, maybe the Norman area, which has a bad history with hail. And you guys are probably wondering, so what's going to happen for you all? Give us just a minute and we'll pull up our forecasted radar. We'll show you what we're expecting for the rest of the night. It's 11 o'clock right now. We are expecting to have storms continuing from this line right here to track to the east and eventually move into places like Oklahoma City and Tulsa in the early morning hours. Let's see if we can pull this up here. And this is not the only chance for storms that we have. We also have storms expected for tomorrow down to the south and east, and then along the East Coast on Wednesday. So this is day 2 out of 4 for storms across the U.S., for severe storms. Okay, I'm pulling up this radar for you guys. It's going to be a little funky for just a minute because I want to fix our scene camera here, and then I'll show you guys the full radar, okay? You guys just get to see some behind the scenes. This is what we work with we work with these graphics. This is how we build the noon forecast for you, and you never get to see the behind the scenes, the side of this production. So you get a little bit of a sneak peek right now. Here we go. Okay, let's see what's going to happen for the rest of the night. Well, we're waiting to see what these storms do now. What are you guys expecting for the rest of the night? Well, we have this line of storms, and as you watch this line of storms progress, just giving you an idea of what we're watching for here. Okay, so this is Oklahoma up to the central portion of Kansas, maybe even a few storms as far north as Omaha. This is going all the way down to the northern side of Texas and potentially even into Dallas by early tomorrow morning, probably right before your morning commute, okay? So here we go. There's your risk. How far out does this go? Oh, tell me it goes all the way to Tuesday. Okay, here we are, 10 o'clock tonight. Fast. They really were very, very quickly moving. It started to slow down as we moved into places like Fairview, Watonga. Now, I think this is really interesting because I think that these storms, models expected these storms to be a little bit more impressive in Fairview, but if you look at the radar now, we barely have any rain in this area. And those really impressive storms are farther down to the south in places like Watonga, into Clinton, Hobart here. Let's keep moving on. And this is Tuesday, but you can see Tuesday 1 o'clock. That's as far as we get with this model. Ponca City into the north of Stillwater. These storms continue to track down to the south, really wanting to hold together right here, but will we get anything in Ponca City? We don't have anything in Cherokee right now, so how should we expect to see anything in just outside of the Oklahoma City metro at 1 o'clock on Tuesday morning? That is 2 hours from now. 2 hours. Different view. You can see, we can go back to the radar here for just a minute. You can see that we do have that tornado warning still issued, still continued. The National Weather Service has continued this tornado warning going into Watonga right now. They have lowered, well, let's see. What are they saying about hail? Yeah, they've lowered that hail size. So they're saying the potential hail size less than an inch. However, a tornado is still possible. Where I think the more impressive hail is right now is going into Weatherford, and we don't have any ground truth to this, so the hail may not be terribly impressive, but if you look at the radar, we're looking at New Cordell into Sentinel, and then going across I-35 into Weatherford, and this is a more populated area. Weatherford has a decent-sized college, SWOSU, in this area, so lots of college, I mean, I would say college students in this area, but it's also a commuter school, so a lot of people will commute in from these smaller towns to go to college at SWOSU. So we've got a lot more people in this area and a lot more people in Clinton as well. So I'm wondering how much hail is actually hitting the ground in this area, because again, this radar view is looking pretty far up into the storm. There's Oklahoma City. There's the Twin Lakes radar. That's what we're using, the Twin Lakes radar. Pretty decent distance to this storm, which means we're looking pretty far up into the atmosphere right now. Ooh, look at this storm that's moving into Hobart right now. Pretty impressive, at least from this radar view. We'll switch radar views. But before we do that, I want you to see that we have extended this tornado warning going into Watonga. So this tornado warning goes until 11:30. The National Weather Service here saying a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 5 miles southwest of Watonga, moving at 55 miles an hour. Pretty fast moving thing here. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. So that's coming from the National Weather Service, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Vance radar, and I'm going to pull up the Frederick radar as well. Give me just a minute. We're going to get some different views of this system. Well, if I could load anything in here, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. It's not much to see right now because I'm having a difficult time getting any data to load. And it could be because I'm using hotel room Wi-Fi, but we've got a little bit, okay? We'll work with what we can. All right, let's pull our stuff back up here. Again, we've got velocity, normalized rotation, VIL, and there's your traditional radar reflectivity. Here's Watonga getting just hammered by rain right now. The National Weather Service saying there was tons of cloud to ground lightning, and we could see a little bit of hail, but I'm not too impressed with this hail. I would say probably not seeing any hail with this. Watonga and Hitchcock looks a little messier right now. Where's the rotation? I would say probably right in here. So that's pretty well-defined rotation. What are we looking for? We're looking for the greens touch the reds. And then if you look on the bottom right side of the screen, you're looking at, hang on. You guys get me to, or you're watching me stare up at the TV up here because that's where I have my other, I've like connected my laptop to the TV that's above me. So I have two monitors in this hotel room. Alrighty, we've got the greens touching the red. That's where we're watching for rotation right there where the red square is. And then we've also got normalized rotation on the bottom side of the screen. Watch right here. This is where we're watching for that potential spin up tornado going right into Watonga right now. So what we often see with this long line of storms, and if you want to see where we're watching from in Oklahoma, look down to the bottom right side of your screen where it says radar. That's a zoomed out shot of the radar in Oklahoma. On the far right side, that is Oklahoma City. On the left side, go to the west a little bit. That's what we're watching for this line of storms. And we found ourselves in Watonga now where we have a tornado warned storm looking a little bit more impressive on radar here as we have some pretty decent rotation, still looking pretty far up into the atmosphere here, but let's look at correlation coefficient. So I've switched over to correlation coefficient in that top right hand corner, and what we're watching for here, especially if we start to see any blues, that is debris lofted into the atmosphere, lofted into this storm. So let's see if we can, each radar run looks a little bit more impressive. Some pretty impressive high wind speed with this, some decent rotation right here. We're looking right where that red square is. That's what we're watching for right now. And I'm looking at some questions now. Obviously, my chat is not pulling up on my screen, so I'm going to read some off of what I see on Facebook, and then I'll read on YouTube after that. And I'm seeing Mike is saying you're cutting out, the connection is bad. I know we're in a hotel. This is just what we're working with right now. Ted says, what direction is the hail moving? So this is moving to, well, let's see how fast it's moving. That's going to be really impressive as well. So this is moving to the northeast at 55 miles an hour. This is a really fast moving system here. This is a fast moving storm. So what happens whenever this storm is so fast moving? It's got such an impressive speed, 55 miles an hour. Think about how fast you drive on the roads. Usually on the highway, what are you going? 70, 65, 70, 75, if it's a toll road maybe. Now you're not moving on the highway here. These are back roads. These are small towns in Oklahoma. And you're not moving just east to west, which is how most roads go in Oklahoma, especially whenever you get to the western side of the state. It's really flat. You've got those county roads. They go in basically a grid. But you're trying to move to the northeast at 55 miles an hour, which means that you're doing this number. You're going east, north, east, north, east, north. And it's probably not working too well because if you're trying to do that at 55 miles an hour, but oh wait, you're supposed to be moving diagonal. Well, you can't move diagonal whenever you've got all these little town roads, and They're probably soaked, so you're probably going through mud. I mean, this is a really, really hard storm to chase. And at that, it's night. You're not even seeing anything. So it's very, very hard to get ground truth from this. With this line of storms, what we're going to watch for here are these little spin-up tornadoes. And actually, I'm a little bit more impressed with this storm right here. The National Weather Service may be looking at this as well because it's kind of pulled away from this long line of storms that stretch down into Texas. It's starting to pull away and become a little bit more isolated, which means that it could organize itself without all of the clutter of the other storms around it and use all of that space to its advantage. And maybe that's why we're seeing a little bit more of an impressive storm here. We are seeing some rotation, but again, we're looking high up into that storm. If this is the surface, we are looking pretty far up into the atmosphere. If we go all the way up, look right above your head, that radar is looking pretty far up into the storm. If we want to get more of a surface view, we have to go to the radar, which is up in Vance, Oklahoma, Vance Air Force Base, Vance, Oklahoma. That's where that radar is. New update from the National Weather Service here for this tornado warning. It's slowed down just a little bit, moving at 50 miles an hour. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. For hail, it's not looking very impressive. Not looking very impressive. Let's see if we can get our chat on here. Where did our chat go? Yeah, it just looks like it's not working. Sorry guys, I wish I could see your comments and your questions, but it's just not working. Let me see if I can pull it up in any other way. Will says, cheers to a good hail season. A lot of people on here looking for good storms with hail. So here's what we can do. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and we're going to talk about what have we seen tonight already. And I have to look this way because I have my I have my other monitor up here above me. It's called the TV in the hotel room. That's my other monitor. So here's what we're seeing, some small hail up in Kansas. I'm actually going to rewind this, and we're going to watch this play all the way through. Give it a minute to catch up to where we were earlier. All right, first line of storms, and the first severe thunderstorm issued tonight was out in western Oklahoma, just outside of Elk City. We started to see some hail reports pop up here, at least 1 inch in size, maybe a little bit bigger for some. The emergency manager out in Custer, Oklahoma, Custer County, Oklahoma, Morewood to be more specific, reported a quarter-sized hail, a 1 inch size hail. Out in Morewood, Oklahoma, we got another one in Carpenter. So it looked like these storms, they blew up really, really fast. They were moving really, really fast. And then all of a sudden, hang on 1 second, move this down so I can see it. And then all of a sudden, especially whenever we're talking about hail sizes and the potential for larger hail, these storms started to die out just a little bit. We started to see a little bit more organization. As I mentioned earlier, we saw that one storm start to pull away from the others. Watch this happen right over Elk City. Look at this area right here. This storm starts to pull away from the others, starts to get a little bit more isolated, and that's whenever we started to see a little bit more rotation happening here. That southern storm, also seeing a little bit of rotation with that. However, oh no, our radar went away. However, it started to weaken, and it was this northern storm that seemed to hold together. So that's what we're watching now, is that storm that went through Watonga. Again, tornado warned storm right here. That tornado warning remains in effect until 11:30, so we have at least 10 more minutes on this storm, moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. So this is Watonga to Hitchcock. We have not gotten any ground truth. We haven't gotten any reports that we've seen a tornado on the ground. However, we did see some pretty decent rotation earlier. What we're also watching for here is a severe thunderstorm warning, and this severe thunderstorm is warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. So they have also brought down the hail potential with this as well. Yep. One-inch size hail with this as well. So let's go back. Let's go back to the radar that we were looking at earlier. I'll make this a little bit smaller and in the side of the screen, so you can always go back to this. If you're confused about what we're looking at, you can always go back and see, here's Oklahoma City. You can see the panhandle of Oklahoma. There's your line of storms. These stretch all the way down into Texas and then up into Kansas. We thought that Wichita could get some storms tonight, but we haven't seen that. Nothing is severe warned in Kansas right now, and we do have a few showers in Grand Island in Nebraska right now, but that is not severe warned either. The only severe warned storm that we have right now goes from Weatherford all the way down. It's a line of storms that go from Weatherford all the way down to Altus, Oklahoma. So we can return to, what do we have pulled up right now? Okeen, which means that is our Vance radar. It's our tornado warned storm, the only one in the state, the only one in the country right now. Still, this goes until 11:30. We have 8 more minutes on this storm. But if we want to switch radar views, I can go back and switch radar views. Okay, an update from the National Weather Service. They're just updating the tornado watch that is in effect right now. That tornado watch is being canceled for our westernmost counties because the storms have already moved through there. So obviously we're not expecting any tornadoes in this area, so they've canceled that part of the tornado watch. For the rest of, let's see, where does the rest of the tornado watch go to? It does include Oklahoma City. Let me show you here. You guys get to watch me try to figure out how to, this is what happens whenever I produce from home, is I don't know how to show you guys how to put the browser on the screen. Let's see if we can figure this out. Aha! Look at us. Okay. Okay, let's look at the tornado watch. Here we go. Here's the National Weather Service. They've got a tornado watch highlighted here in yellow that goes all the way from Oklahoma down to northern Texas. A few counties have been released from this tornado watch because there's the line of thunderstorms, and the watch has been released from for a few of these counties. You know what I can actually do? You guys are going to watch me play with my weather products here. Here's what I'm going to do. Look at that. There's your tornado watch, highlighted there in pink. There you go. It is, it does include Oklahoma City. It goes all the way out to Shawnee and Seminole. It does include Norman, all the way down to Pauls Valley, Ardmore, all the way down into northern Texas, including Gainesville, into Seymour, Stanford, Abilene, San Angelo, but does not include San Antonio or any cities along the highway here. So just outside of Dallas. Will Dallas get a tornado watch early tomorrow morning? That's a great question. This tornado watch goes until 5 a.m. So for your morning commute, I want you to be watching the radar. I want you to pull up your local news station before you head out early tomorrow morning. If you are anywhere on the eastern side of this watch, Ponca City, Stillwater, Oklahoma City, Ada, including Dallas, if you have an early commute tomorrow morning, make sure that you are pulling up the radar before you head out to Tulsa. I would do the same thing. What other questions do we have? Let's see. As I mentioned earlier, I can't see the questions on the screen, so I just get to look them up the old-fashioned way using my phone. James is asking, what does southeast Kansas look like? So you're quiet right now. You don't have anything going on right now. Let's pull up the NAM. If you guys are familiar with our models, we've got the NAM, we've got the NAM Nest, we've got the HRRR. So what we're going to look at is the NAM Nest, and I'll show this to you guys. So if you have never seen us forecast before, oftentimes we show you the graphics from our nice fancy graphics system. However, at this point in the night, I feel like it may be just a little bit easier to show you using the models that us as meteorologists look at every single day. These are accessible to you online. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. There you go. This is what we look at to say what's going to happen with the weather today. You have to be a little careful using these. If you really want to use them, you can. You have to be a little bit careful, though. I just disappeared for a little bit. You have to be a little bit careful, though, because you have to know how to read Zulu time. That's what says 0Z in the corner of your screen. You have to know how to read these models. So here's what we're seeing right now. You can see those storms out in western Oklahoma. The NAM Nest is doing an okay job picking up on these storms. Now, how's it doing right now? It's doing okay. It's picking up that you've got basically a break in the storms, and we've seen that. We've seen some more isolated storms up in the northern side of the state. It really wants to congeal this line of storms, making a straight line of storms. You can see that in western Oklahoma here before you get to I-35. And so by the time that we're approaching the Oklahoma City Metro, it's about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's whenever you're going to start to hear your first rumbles of thunder if you're on the western side of the city, okay? If you're on the Yukon, Mustang side of the city, it's going to be an overnight system, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So a little bit farther here into the metro by 2, 3 o'clock. Out of the metro by the time you want to go to work in the morning. I know, yeah, no late start. You're probably going to be fine to go to work in the morning. The storms are out of there. Still seeing storms moving into Tulsa by your early commuting time. Okay, we're talking about 5, 6 o'clock at this point. Dallas, really, really similar. We're talking about 6, 7 o'clock for you as well. In the morning, Tuesday morning here, okay? Tuesday morning. This is when your storms are coming through, Tulsa and Dallas. Here's Dallas, here's Tulsa. And we're still seeing some pretty impressive storms from this. Seems to die out as we go throughout the middle of the day, but then start to ramp back up later on. And we're not only watching for tornado, high wind, hail risk here, but we're also watching for a flooding risk. And I feel like this may be something that is not talked about very often. Slowly but surely, my hotel Wi-Fi will load this for you guys. And if you're wondering why we're in a hotel, it's because we have the Raising Hail Tour in Omaha starting tomorrow. So that's why we're in a hotel right now. And we're so excited. That's not what I wanted. We're so excited for the Raising Hail Tour. We have done 4 cities already. We have our 5th city tomorrow, Omaha. And then we have another city, Orlando, for the hurricane forecast early next week. So if you're interested in hearing that hurricane forecast, our meteorologists are absolutely phenomenal, and they work really, really hard on this forecast. We have so many meteorologists. We have 17 meteorologists in all of Hail Trace, and a few of them will work on this forecast. And they've got a hail forecast, they've got a hurricane forecast, and we'll talk about what we're expecting for this upcoming season. Where's the best chance for a hailstorm? Where's the worst chance? We talk about that. Alrighty, let's get to, here's your excessive rainfall. So we're looking at for tomorrow. For today, not as impressive across Oklahoma. It's a marginal risk. But for tomorrow, we're looking at a level 2 risk over Kansas City. So Kansas City, even though, sure, you could see some pretty strong storms, I think the flooding risk may be a little bit more impressive. And then the storms that are coming out of Oklahoma early tomorrow morning and into the eastern side of the state and into Arkansas, Little Rock, Memphis, that could also hold a flooding risk with this as well. Northern Louisiana. There's your legend. So something that we don't always talk about. We often talk, this is probably more what you guys see. This is probably what you see, right? See this on social media. Your Storm Prediction Center outlooks. Put out by the SPC, Storm Prediction Center. I know, it's small on the screen. So this is what they had for today. So not all of this is still accurate, because obviously these storms have moved past Woodward now, past Wichita. We don't even have any storms in Wichita, just a little bit of rain. Still Oklahoma City, Norman, Fort Sill, Wichita Falls. Could we see some storms in this area? Yeah, I think it's possible. Dallas is in a level 3, level 2 risk. The main risks here, we've got a 10% chance for 10% for tornadoes. And again, if you don't know how to read this, it could be a little bit tricky. So we have the 10% area would be the tornado probability legend. In here, we have a 10% risk to see a tornado or two. Seems low, but again, it's a pretty decent risk, especially for early March. Pretty decent risk. High wind risk, 30% for Oklahoma City, Norman, Fort Sill, all the way down to just north of Dallas. And then that hail risk is a level 2 out of 5, and it's a 15% chance. And we saw some pretty decent hail tonight. Speaking of, let's go back to the maps. We'll do one more last round the radar. If we have any questions, I'll try to get to your questions here. And then maybe I'll hop off and let you guys get some sleep tonight. We did already do a forecast, so if you want to see that forecast, go back and watch that after this live is over. Okay, what do we have from the National Weather Service here? So this is something that we talked about. If you saw our post a few hours ago, we talked about a hail risk at first, hail and tornado threat. Right when these storms kick off, hail and tornado threat is what we were watching for. And then this was going to transition to a tornado and high wind threat. And it looks like that is what we're starting to see, that transition to high wind. Here's what we're seeing. Highlighted here in yellow. This is going into Enid. We're starting to see some high wind come out of this. So this severe thunderstorm warning is warned for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Some pretty decent some pretty decent wind here. 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and penny-sized hail. Again, moving pretty quickly, northeast at 55 miles an hour. They're not ruling out a tornado with this, but it does look pretty unorganized, and I think that if we do see a tornado, you're not going to have a ton of preparation time. These are what we call spin-up tornadoes, where even though we call them spin-up, don't think that that means that they can't be strong. They can still be strong tornadoes. They're going to be fast. They're going to be really, really fast tornadoes. The best chance to see that in this storm would be right on the southern side of this storm that you see right here, just outside of Dover into Loyal, Oklahoma. So there's one severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that's for 70 mile per hour wind gust and penny-sized hail. And then if we go down to the south here, and actually, well, when I go down to the south, I'm going to switch over this radar here because I think we get a much better view of this from our Frederick radar. We still haven't set up this radar yet. So this is down, this is the storm that we were looking at earlier, just south of Enid. Here we go, here's Oklahoma City. Here's I-40. This is Geary, Hinton, Binger, Roosevelt, just to the north of Altus. Altus not technically in this severe thunderstorm warning, however, I bet it's loud as this lightning and thunder goes on. Lots of lightning with this storm. This severe thunderstorm warning issued for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and penny-sized hail. So again, the hail size not terribly impressive with this 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. So we're right over that severe threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. What does that mean? If we can get over 58-mile-per-hour wind speeds with a severe thunderstorm, with a thunderstorm, it will be deemed severe. Under 58, subsevere, not severe. Over 58-mile-per-hour wind, that's severe. Or you could do quarter-sized hail. Quarter size or larger, that's a severe thunderstorm. Smaller than that, subsevere, not severe. With this, we're expecting penny-sized hail, not terribly impressive there, and 60-mile-per-hour wind speed. So this is barely over that severe threshold. And again, that goes anywhere from I-40 all the way down to the southwestern side of Oklahoma. Maybe a little bit of hail in this, but again, it's not going to be very big. Alrighty. And there's your round the radar. I will do one last check for questions, and then I'll hop off of here and I'll let you guys go to bed. We did a little forecast, and we went all the way around the radar as well. So I'm going to hop off of here. I think I looked at all the questions. There isn't any that I haven't answered. Thanks for joining us tonight. Sorry the connection wasn't great. That's just what we get whenever we are in a hotel room. We have our Omaha Raising Hail tour tomorrow. We're excited about that. So come visit us in Omaha if you are in this area. If not, come see us out in Orlando. We'll be in Orlando early next week. All right, have a fantastic, Monday night. We, of course, will have a live forecast tomorrow at noon. I don't know who's doing that forecast. Someone in studio will probably be doing that forecast. Hopefully they have better connection than I did. And then we will see you back here if we have any storms tomorrow, which we probably will. We will see you back here doing our lives tomorrow evening as well. All right, have a fantastic Monday night. We'll see you back here for your forecast tomorrow.